Good morning, everyone. It's Belinda Weaver here. I'm being joined by Leanne Summers. I get my side wrong. Hello, Leanne. Thanks for joining me
Hello,
today.
hello. Thank you for having
Now,
me.
it's early, it's in the morning in Cali. It's late at night where Leanne is in Vietnam. And Leanne is joining me to talk about her business, her copywriting business, how it's evolved, how it's changed. And if you've tuned into these chats before, you'll know I'm talking to members of my Confident Copywriting group, not necessarily about confident copywriting, but about their business. Because what we often see is we see the Facebook version, we see the beautiful headshots, we see the cool Instagram posts, and we're like, God, that business owner's got it all together. That copywriter has it on. And what we don't see is that messy behind the scenes. We don't see the pivots. We don't see the changes. We don't see the evolution. And so that's what these chats are about, talking about how it started, how it's going, and some bumps along the way. So, Leanne, could you
Yes,
introduce yourself to everyone, please?
most certainly. My name is Leanne Summers, and I'm an SEO copywriter. As Belinda said, I'm in Vietnam. I'm a corporate refugee, no, corporate escapee.
I love it.
I've been here now for about 10 years, and I work with other corporate escapees actually from all across the world. I like to work with humans who work with a purpose. They're trying to save the planet or help people. And I help them with their SEO and their website copywriting, e-commerce copywriting, emails, and a little bit of sales copy.
And I love that the audience you work with, because not only like I can see you going, well, this is my background, so I know these people, but I think especially from the pandemic, yay, pandemic, more and more people now are going, you know what? This corporate job thing that I was sold when I left uni, or if I don't want to do it anymore. And I've got something else in me that I need to get involved in. And so I love that you are helping those people get found, because often when we make that switch, we're like, I don't know how any of this works. I've not
Mm.
done marketing before. I don't know how to get found online. And so to have someone come in, help with SEO, with emails, with the e-commerce, and just that message clarification, I imagine it's very rewarding with your audience.
Look, I really enjoy it because my motivation for helping my clients comes from a place deep within me, and I understand how it feels when you leave that nice safe cocoon of corporate land where someone else did the marketing and someone else did the SEO, and you picked up the phone and you called IT when your laptop did something funny,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, you don't have that anymore, and you're filled with this passion and this enthusiasm for what you want to do in life. And it's almost like there's these little roadblocks that you hit every day, that you just think, oh, I'm the only person here trying to change the world, and I just can't
Yes.
do it all by myself. And so being able to reach those people and do big things with them or do small things with them incrementally as they're ready to shift gears in their business is something that I find really rewarding. And I guess the way that I approach my business is that I'm not all about, this is my package, this is what I do, you either take it or you leave it. I work with lots of clients who want small little things, and we take it a piece at a time, because when you're growing a business, as you're often bootstrapping it, and
Yeah.
other clients have got lots of money and they just want to throw it at me and say, look, just make me look good, and get me going.
Yeah, and I love, as you were talking there, I was thinking of how my own journey. Now, I'm not saving the world. For me, it was copywriting, but that moment where you're like, "Oh, to hell with this. I've got something else I want to do." And for me, it became a matter of if, like how, not if. It wasn't if I could make it happen. I was
Mm.
just determined to figure out how to make it happen. But as you said, there's so much that you previously didn't even give a second thought to, that suddenly you're in charge, and if no one else does it. You got to step up and do it. So it's a beautiful link, actually. Tell me about how you found copywriting as your thing and your escape from corporate land.
Oh, well, a lot of people say this, but I've always written because I'm a lawyer by trade.
I did not know that. Well, how did I
Yes.
not know that?
So I spent a lot of time, a couple of decades, writing lots of things that no one wanted to read. Um, and so when I did, my husband and I made the crazy decision to pack up and head to a foreign land on some adventures. I guess it doesn't sound very it certainly wasn't a calling or something that reached out and spoke to me. I fell back on that when we settled in Vietnam and began to write website copy and travel brochures and itineraries, um, touristy and hospitality blurbs for the professionals here in Hoi An, which is a strong destination. Well, it's a tourism destination in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I was doing that for years without really calling myself anything. It was just, oh, Leanne, the writer. Yeah, you need a website. Go and see her.
Yeah.
And I also started a destination wedding business here. I'm a destination wedding celebrant, which is the other
Yes.
business I have here.
Did know that.
So the creative part of my brain spends a lot of time contemplating love and life and relationships and all the messiness that comes with that, and culminates on this beautiful day that is a wedding. So it was the pandemic, like a lot of people, that triggered a change, because when the world stopped, as it did, so did my wedding business, because there were no tourists. And I thought, well, crap, I've got to do something. And I literally did, after I realised this wasn't just a bad flu and that this was all going to go away in a few weeks, I did spend a couple of months doing some fairly serious day drinking.
Vietnam's a beautiful place to day drink. I'll say that.
Yeah, but not the kind of day drinking where you're kind of wallowing in a
Yeah.
crisis. So I just put my big girl pants on one day, and I'd been listening to your podcast for a couple of years and thought, well, I can do this. I'm sure I can. I can, do this. I've heard Belinda talk about it. There's some fairly fundamentals in putting all of this together. And so, I just thought, right, I built myself a dinky little website and, set up an email and thought, right, this is what I'm doing. And out of sheer desperation, I just started joining groups, introducing myself to people. Because I didn't know what I didn't know, I just went, hey, what do you need? I can help. And, I got work. It wasn't high paying work. It wasn't lucrative work. It wasn't necessarily work I really wanted to do. But I didn't have that paralysis because I was driven through hunger. So then I think the challenge that I faced after that, about 6 months in, when I'd had 6 months of good work and I was starting to feel a little bit comfortable, was what you mentioned at the beginning, when you start to slow down a little bit and you look at everybody else and you're like, oh, look at their website. Oh, look at their social media. Oh, look at all their fancy things. I don't have any of that. I don't, And then I started, the imposter syndrome started. It was like, God, who the hell am I even to put my name out there? Oh, God.
What a gift it is.
And so then it was like, and so that I went through a little bit of that. I don't have a lot of that anymore. I still have that gulp every time I land a job, just because I think if you don't, then if you don't get that feeling, that little, I'm not sure that your heart's really in the game. So I suppose that would have been my biggest challenge, is the comparison. And my biggest piece of advice is to, when that little voice starts creeping into your head, just bye-bye. You're not serving me. You're not serving me. I'm on my own path, and I'm on my own journey here, and I'm doing okay. Everyone that's a copywriter, or even thinking about calling themselves a copywriter, if you're not even ready to say that yet, you can, and you don't have to be like everybody else, because what you're seeing that everybody else is ain't what's really happening. I can promise you
Yes.
that.
And I just want to unpick a few details of that. We have so many parallels in our story, because I decided, like copywriting, I was like, this is it. Oh, I didn't even know this was out here. So that was a little bit different, because you were already doing it. But for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I was oblivious, really oblivious to how many copywriters were out there. So I was just like, I'm doing my thing and I'm learning. And I was just be like, hi, I'm Belinda. I'm a copywriter. And exactly the same. And then about 6 months in, about a year in, I was like, all right, I think I need to get a bit pickier about who I'm saying yes to. Like this, I'm busy enough now that it's time to evolve. And that's when I was like, oh no, apparently I'm not the only copywriter in the whole world. This is problematic. And, I saw, actually, I was aware of really high profile copywriters, but I was like, well, I'm clearly not a threat. I'm not competition. So I'm in a different pond on a different nation. So I'm just going to do my thing, and I'm going to try and be as good as I can get. But then that moment where you're like, oh, now exactly the same. Now I'm comparing myself. I haven't got that fancy Instagram profile. I haven't got a funnel. I haven't got a lead magnet. I haven't got any of these things. And it can be crippling. But I think what you have to do is exactly what you said. You have to be able to go, all right, this is just a story that I'm telling myself right now. I'm recognizing what's going on in this moment, and I'm choosing something different. I'm choosing to double down on what I know and what I can do. And I'm choosing to just keep getting better at what I'm doing. And I always used to say, eyes on your work, Belinda. Keep your eyes on your work. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. And the great thing about being in communities is you can get inspired and lifted up and supported. But as long as it maintains its positivity, when it turns into, I'm a terrible whatever because I haven't got what they've got, that's what you need to work on to capture. And we all have it. And I find each time I step up and out, that voice comes back and goes, okay, girl, let's stay back here. We know this space. And so it's just, you have to be able to handle that voice within you.
Yes.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's often what will stop people moving forward. They
And I
believe
think,
that voice.
yeah, they believe that voice, and that voice is crippling. And when you think, oh, well, what will people think? What will people think? No one thinks anything. You worry too much about what other people think, but really no one gives a crap.
No.
It's the stories that you're telling yourself that hold you back. And I think the most valuable things that I do for my career is that I am a member of communities, paid essentially, because I find that when you're in the free communities, you get a lot of junk. You get a lot of junk. You get a lot of junky people. You get a lot of junky messaging. You get a lot of junky bad head vibes that reinforce some of that negative self-talk. And I think when you've got some skin in the game, there are people who have you're like-minded people. And when you are having one of those days where you just want to plop into a safe space and say, you know what, I just had a really crummy thing happen and I just need to talk about it, you know that there's not going to be, there's just going to be lots of arms come out, envelop you, take you under their bosom and say, you know what, here's a big kiss and a cuddle, and tomorrow will be better because you're a good girl and you're good at what you do. And so I wouldn't trade that. You know, there are lots of things that I would give up before I gave up my communities, just because of the support. And, you know, in particular, I love confident copywriting apart from the masterclasses and all of the amazing resources, and your getting starter pack is just incredible. You know, I use your emails. They're in my workflow now that I've got one of those sexy things, you know, so, so that I don't have to copy and paste and rewrite the same emails. It just goes blip, 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 blip. They're incredible, but it's the copy reviews. Send your copy in, get Belinda to do it, you know, do a live. Yep, unbelievable. I spend evenings, it's one of my habits, to watch Bill do copy reviews, and then I read the subtitles and I find where the swear words get picked up by the subtitler. But there's nothing like the over-the-shoulder copy reviews. You know, when you're a bit timid and you're a bit scared to perhaps submit your own copy, even though it's anonymous and no one knows whose copy it is, just to see, you know, someone as experienced as you know, putting your eyes and thoughts across the copy and just going, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And the things that I've watched you do now, you know, they sit in my brain. And when I'm writing, I go, yeah, Bill will do it this way. Yep, got to remember to make that a power bullet. Got to power up these bullets.
I love that, because it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's a sweaty thing to submit your copy to get it reviewed. I got my copy reviewed by another copywriter recently, and it was awful, but so useful, because actually the comments are quite nice, which is good. But I was like, you know what? I'm always encouraging confident copywriters to submit their copy to me. I have an opportunity. So I'm going to put my big girl pants on and submit some copy. And if you can just get one or two little ideas, and it's getting the ideas that you were blind to.
Yes.
Because it's kind of like, for me, it's like the edge of a spotlight. I can only see what I can see. And if someone can go, oh, I'm going to illuminate this other little area, and you're like, oh, I didn't see that. But now I've seen it, I can't unsee it. And I'll remember it for next time. So I always remember those little tips I've got from other people, and they just come up. Oh, hang on, make the headline more specific. That's the big one, because it's the first tip I ever got. And so I'm so glad you like those copy reviews, because I know how difficult it is to go, here we go.
Oh,
Please have a look at
absolutely.
this.
And when they're not a disaster as well, you know, because you always think that it's going to be, you know, when you have this amazing human, you know, peer review your stuff, you know, you wonder, oh God, they're just going to say, I'm not even looking at this. I don't get paid enough to look at this rubbish. And you know, and it's not that way. It's extremely constructive and rewarding, and you come out the other side thinking, well, I survived that.
That's exactly right.
And
Exactly right.
beautiful.
And I don't do tear downs. I don't call them tear downs, quite deliberately, because I like to point out all the great things as well as what the next step is. It's not like you did this wrong. It's like, here are some different ways that you could approach this little bit, and here's the next step. And you know, sometimes I get copy where I've recorded a video and gone, I'm not even going to publish this because I don't have anything to say to you. And I love those moments too. I love those moments. Oh, I'm so glad that's been so useful. And the starter pack as well, the templates and stuff, because it's shortcuts to that getting more experience.
Oh God, yes.
You talked about the workflow.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you've gone from like, I'll say yes to anything, I'm just getting this going. And even before then going, I'm not even really doing this. I'm just kind of, you know, doing it as a side gig. How can you list some ways your business has changed over the years? Because now you have a succinct hero statement, you have a targeted audience, you have a niche, and you have workflows. And, you know, that's quite a step up.
I think the biggest change was to get really clear about who I wanted to work with, and to stop saying yes to anything and everyone, because it gives you power. It gives you power. It's scary, and I understand that it's scary to say, oh, I'm going to say no. But, you know, as as you always say, you can still always say yes to, you know, little things when the time calls for it. But when you can get clear on aligning yourself with the people or the profession that works for you, it actually makes your job easier, because you're writing about similar themes, similar concepts, similar outcomes, and also focusing on the kinds of copy that you like to write. So instead of saying I'll write everything and anything, you know, I've focused on website copy, e-commerce copy, SEO, and emails. So and a little bit of sales. Sales is not my passion project. I'm still not sure about that one. I think I'm probably going to go deeper into SEO, the SEO side of things. It just fascinates me, the technical side. I'm becoming a bit of a geek. I read the quality rater guidelines as my nighttime reading, which is a bit sad. And so getting clear on who I want to work with, getting clear on the things I want to work on, and then getting confident about my pricing. I think that's the hardest one for a lot of copywriters is, you know, that age-old thing. You send off the proposal and they say, yep, and you go, oh, damn, I should have quoted more. And I think that comes with time, when you actually you get used to how long it takes you to do things, and how long it really does take you to do things, and then you get comfortable with an hourly rate, and then it gives you confidence to you know, charge appropriately and accordingly, because you've had the feedback, you've had people value your work, you've had people happy to pay for it and be happy at the other end.
Yes.
So, and the other thing was relates to marketing, and I still struggle with marketing. I still struggle with putting myself out there. But once I actually got clear on who I serve and what makes me feel good in serving, it helped me get clear on where I want to be. And because when you're starting out, you know, you kind of think, I've got to do all the things, I've got to do everything. So you're across Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook, you know, God knows, you're probably on TikTok by now. And when you know where your people hang out, you can hang out there. But I've made a monumental decision just myself in this last fortnight that I'm jumping off Instagram. I'm making myself a little 9 grid thing that says, hey, I don't hang out here anymore. If you want to find me, I'm going to be on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, because I've reached a point in my business where I just don't want to jump around on reels. And it's for a lot of people, and my corporate SKP clients aren't really people who jump around on reels either, or if they do, they're doing product reels and things like that. So I think, and then accepting that you can't do everything, but there are some things that you need to do as a business owner, and so those things that can only be done by you, like the writing, you need to make time for that and make space for that, and automate and systemize where you can, and in the time that you have to achieve it, because it all takes time. Your processes, because your admin is such a time suck. And I got to be honest, I've got Dubsado, and you know, you said to me once, and I think we all make this mistake, you know, we're going to set aside a day to work on the business, you know, these lofty goals. And really, sometimes just being able to carve out 20 minutes of your day to work on your business is a fantastic achievement. And so don't be too, you know, you know, I think we all start out with these great lofty goals, and when we don't achieve them, we beat ourselves over the head because we haven't achieved them. 20-minute chunks. If I can get a 20-minute chunk and just tick something off that list, I'm a happy girl.
Yeah. And then like we have inside Confident Copywriting, we have something called the CEO streak, where it's 2 hours a week. It's just 2 hours a week. And it's, you know, that whole message of do what you can don't feel like you have to have it all in, because there's this journey. And I love how you've talked about a few things. You refined your audience, you refined your projects. I love how you're like, I'm still trying sales. I'm not sure about that yet. And that's kind of what you have to do. You have to get to a place and then go, right, how does this fit? Do I want to make any changes? What's the next step? And then, as you said, it's just incrementally moving forward in a way that you can sustain. Because sometimes I'm like, when New Year's Day, I'm like, right, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do like this and this and this. I'm going to put 5 habits and I'm going to be transformed. And it's like, that's not how it works. You got to do one thing, bed it in, do another thing, bed it in, make sure it works. And that's one thing we talk about a lot in confident copywriting, is that, you know what, slow and steady is 100% okay. In fact, I think it's better when we're living in a beautiful place and we want to spend more time away from the laptop than on it. When we have small humans, when we're caring for parents, when we want to travel, like all those things, that's what we work for, right?
Yes.
And
you, sorry.
no, you go.
I was just going to say that you gave me some of the best advice I've ever heard about 6 or 8 months ago, and I actually chatted with another copywriter today and shared it with her, and it was something that you said off the cuff in a coaching call, or you were sharing some struggles you were having in your business, that you'd gone away on a holiday and you were struggling with or you'd had a break with the kids and you were struggling with some things that hadn't quite got to plan while you were away. And you said that, it doesn't, that you're always going to have challenges in what you do, and the pressure's always going to be there. It's just that they're going to be different pressures. And after that, I thought, and I went away and I had to think about it, and I thought, what Belinda said is essentially right, because I look at Belinda and, she's powerful, successful, wildly famous. And here, and I'm sitting here thinking, oh, God, I haven't got a lead magnet. And at that stage, I didn't have a lead magnet. I do now. Another one of those little things that I celebrate. But you were absolutely dead on that, as someone who's, very I'm not far on my business journey, and I wake up every day with the pressures going, oh. But you're so much further along in your journey and on a different path and doing all different things. But you still wake up in the morning with the same pressures. So it doesn't matter, I think, how seasoned you are, how successful you are, or how close you are to reaching the top of that mountain. The pressure's always there. So hey, babes, slow down a bit, because it's not like you're going to get to next week and things are going to be margaritas and magic on the beach. It's just not ever that way. So slow down and just enjoy a little bit of the ride.
Oh, yes.
And that was for me life-changing.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad, because, it's something I'm working on a lot myself. And that's what we talk about in Confident Copywriter. I'm not pretending like I got it all together. I share the challenges that I'm going through so everyone can see. And it's not a like, oh God, it never ends. It's more like hey, build your resilience, build your process, but also, as you said, slow your roll, slow down, enjoy it a little more. Because more money, more clients, more followers, more, it doesn't give you more time. It doesn't give you more freedom. And so you got to bake that in now. You got to bake the clock off times and the weekends and the fun. So it stays fun.
Yes, today's fun. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And definitely do it. And I have to remind myself, as a person who is a corporate escapee and a person who serves corporate escapees, I got out of that for a reason. And, life's to be lived and life's to be enjoyed and life's to be something we're grateful for. So you've got to bake that in.
Yes. Oh, I love that you mentioned that. Now let's talk about what you've got on your horizons. What's some big stuff you're excited about? And it could be in the next couple of months. It could be in the next 5 years. But what have you like going, yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I want to do.
I am, as I think I mentioned briefly earlier, I'm not flirting. I would say I'm seriously dating SEO. And I'm not sure So I don't have plans to write a book, or even though people tell me based on my Facebook history and my Facebook messages that I have a book baking about my last 10 years. But I'm not, I'm a constant learner, and I'm not, I'm wanting to see where this copywriting and SEO can take me. I'm not satisfied with being an SEO copywriter who does on-page copywriting. I'd actually like to see how that marriage can evolve into something really special. I'm just not sure what that is yet, because SEOs, they work very much in isolation. And since I've really jumped into that Twitter pond of, SEO legends, I've not heard a single one of and I'm in the most amazing community there of women in SEO. Not a single one of them has mentioned copywriting at all in 6 months. And so for me, it just seems like a very, it's incongruous to me to think that you can talk about SEO, in particular on-page SEO, and not talk about the words that are on the page. So I'm really curious to see how I can shape that. So that would be my exciting. I'm very excited about that. If I'm honest, I'm incredibly excited about it, because I think that there's so much opportunity there, or maybe there isn't. I'm not sure, but I'm very keen to go and see what's out there, see what I can make happen.
When you get that fire in your belly, for me, it's like, oh, that GPS setting's locked in. I'm not sure how I'm going to get there. I'm not sure what it's going to be like when I get there, but man, I'm not letting go. I'm like a dog with a bone on this one. It's happening. And it's exciting. I think that's the injection that we regularly need into our paths to be like, yep, I'm still getting up. I'm still super stoked about this. And so I'm so glad you have that on your horizon too. So let's wrap it up there. We've talked a little bit about where people can find you, but just to recap, you said LinkedIn. This is you on LinkedIn. Leanne's, is it Leanne Summer or Leanne Summers?
Summers.
Sorry about that. That's my bad.
That's okay. It never rains in my world, as the Vietnamese say. They love my family name. Like,
I love it. So this is you on LinkedIn, and I think you said Twitter as well.
Yes.
And then your website here. And so go and check out the website. It's as copywriters, we're looking at this. I'm always like, that's a good hero statement. Like, that's a clear declaration of what you do and who you work with, I should say. And so go and check Leanne out. Leanne, I want to thank you for your time today. I want you to now wind down, because it's 9:30, nearly 10 o'clock at night. Is that right?
It's 20 to 11.
20 to 11. Oh my God, I'm so old. I'd be like, I'm not having at that time of day. So I want you to go and have a little bit of a wind down. It's been really lovely to chat, and so many insights and takeaways from this. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me. Have a fabulous day.
I will.
And have fun at the water park.
Yes, taking the girls out for a fun day out. And so I will see you in Confident Copywriting, my friend.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.